Welcome back to Coins Tool. The 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of those fascinating coins that captures the heart of coin collectors and history enthusiasts alike. This small copper coin not only carries the face of Abraham Lincoln but also holds a rich story that connects us to a very unique time in American history. Minted at the San Francisco Mint in the year 1940, this coin was produced during a period when the United States was still recovering from the Great Depression and just on the brink of entering World War II. Every detail on this coin tells a story, from the image of Lincoln on the obverse to the famous wheat ears design on the reverse. The obverse, or front side, of the 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny features the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. Above Lincoln's head is the inscription "In God We Trust." To the left is the word Liberty, and to the right is the date 1940 along with the small S mint mark just below it, which tells us it was minted in San Francisco. The reverse of the coin carries the beautiful wheat ears design with the words 1 cent boldly in the center, United States of America underneath, and the motto E pluribus unum arching across the top. This design was used from 1909 to 1958 and has become one of the most beloved in U.S. coinage history. The 1940s penny was struck in an alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs about 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. Because it was minted in large quantities, the 1940s Lincoln penny is not considered rare in circulated condition, but finding one in pristine uncirculated condition can be a real challenge. Over time, many of these pennies were heavily used in everyday transactions, and natural wear reduced their sharpness and luster. In terms of mintage, over 112 million 1940s pennies were produced. This means they are relatively common compared to some other wheat pennies, but the real value lies in the grade and condition of the coin. Lower-grade circulated coins may only be worth a few cents to $1, but as you move up to higher mint state grades, the value can increase significantly. Collectors especially seek out coins with full red original luster, minimal contact marks, and strong strike details. An average circulated 1940s Lincoln Wheat penny might sell for between 20 cents and $2, depending on its wear. In higher grades, such as Mint State 65 with full red color, the coin can command prices from $15 to $40. But the real excitement comes when we talk about the rare top-grade examples. In the current coin market, a superb gem 1940s penny graded MS67 red by a top grading service can easily bring hundreds of dollars at auction. The most valuable examples are those with extraordinary color, perfect strike, and no visible marks. One record-breaking sale saw a 1940s Lincoln Wheat penny in a stunning MS67 Plus red grade sell for over $3,500 at a major auction. This shows how collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that are nearly perfect, even when the coin is from a common mintage year. Another factor that can increase value is the presence of errors or varieties. Some 1940s pennies show minor die cracks, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes, which can make them more desirable and valuable to specialists in error coins. It is also important to note that the history of this coin makes it special. 1940 was a time of global uncertainty, with World War II raging in Europe and tensions rising in the Pacific. In the United States, coins like the 1940s penny were a part of everyday life, passing through the hands of workers, families, and soldiers. Holding one today is like holding a small piece of pre-war America, a tangible connection to a world that was about to change forever. For collectors, the 1940s Lincoln Wheat penny represents both a historical artifact and a piece of numismatic beauty. It can be an affordable entry point for new collectors, while high-grade examples remain a challenge for experienced numismatists. Whether you find one in your change, inherit it from a family member, or purchase it from a coin dealer, it is worth learning how to properly store and preserve it. Keeping your coin in a protective holder away from moisture and handling can help retain its color and value over time. Today's current market value for the 1940s penny can range widely depending on condition. A typical well-worn example may fetch under $1, but a certified gem uncirculated coin with blazing red surfaces can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And in the rarest high-grade cases, collectors have paid over $3,500 for the finest known examples. This is why it is so important to examine your coin closely, look for any special features or varieties, and if it appears to be in excellent condition, consider having it graded by a professional service. we are going to talk about a coin that is over 70 years old yet still sparks excitement among collectors and treasure hunters alike. I am talking about the 1951 Lincoln Wheat penny, a small copper coin that can be worth a surprising amount of money if you know what to look for. In this video, we will go over the history of the coin, the varieties minted, the key factors that make it valuable, and the current market prices for these little treasures. The Lincoln Wheat penny series was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin replaced the Indian head cent and quickly became one of the most beloved coins in U.S. history. On the obverse side, or the front, you will see the detailed portrait of President Abraham Lincoln facing to the right. Above his head is the motto "In God We Trust." To the left is the word liberty, and to the right is the year of issue. On the reverse side, you will find the iconic wheat stalks on each side, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. At the top, the motto "E pluribus unum" reminds us of unity in diversity. This wheat design remained in circulation from 1909 until 1958, making the 1951 issue part of the later years of the wheat penny era. Now let's talk about the 1951 Lincoln Wheat penny specifically. This coin was minted in 3 different locations: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with the D mint mark, and San Francisco with the S mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 284 million of these coins, the Denver Mint produced over 625 million, and the San Francisco Mint made just over 136 million. Even though these numbers sound huge, not all coins survived in perfect condition, and that is where the rarity and value come into play. While most of the 1951 pennies you might find in circulation today are worth only a few cents above their face value, certain conditions, varieties, and errors can make them worth a small fortune. The composition of the 1951 wheat penny is 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it a reddish-brown tone when new. Over the decades, these coins can develop deep brown or even dark patinas, which is normal due to oxidation. Collectors, however, are often willing to pay a premium for coins that retain their original red luster and have minimal signs of wear. Grading plays a huge role in determining value. A circulated 1951 penny might be worth between 5 and 25 cents, but an uncirculated example graded mint state 65 red can fetch several dollars, sometimes even more for the rarest varieties. Speaking of varieties, one of the most exciting aspects of collecting 1951 pennies is looking for mint errors. Popular errors include doubled die obverse, where the date and letters appear doubled under magnification, off-center strikes, where the coin design is not perfectly aligned, and repunched mint marks, especially in the 1951D and 1951S issues. These error coins are in high demand because they are unique pieces of minting history. Some of these error pennies have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the rarity and grade. Now, you might be wondering about the highest values ever paid for a 1951 Lincoln Wheat penny. Well, here is where things get interesting. In top-grade condition, especially for coins graded MS67 red by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, prices can skyrocket. A pristine 1951 D penny in MS67 red has sold for over $4,000 at auction. Even more impressive, certain error varieties in high grades have reached values of over $10,000. That's a lot of money for a coin that originally cost just 1 cent. So what about the current market value? In today's coin market, a standard 1951 Lincoln Wheat penny in average circulated condition is usually worth around 10 to 20 cents. A certified uncirculated coin with a full red color can range from $20 to several $100s. Error coins, especially those with dramatic doubling or misstrikes, can range anywhere from a couple $100s to several $1,000s, depending on the collector demand. The rarest and most pristine coins are the ones that truly bring in the big bucks, with some topping the $10,000 mark. If you have a 1951 penny, the first thing to do is check the mint mark and condition. If it has that bright red mint luster and minimal contact marks, you might have something special. Use a magnifying glass to inspect the date and mint mark for any signs of doubling or repunching. And if you think you have a rare or high-grade coin, it's worth sending it to a professional grading service to get an official grade and certification. This can significantly increase its value when selling or auctioning. The 1951 Lincoln Wheat penny is a perfect example of how history, design, and condition all come together to determine a coin's worth. It connects us to a time in American history when copper pennies were still made to last, and the wheat design symbolized the country's agricultural roots. Whether you are a casual collector or a serious numismatist, the 1951 penny is a rewarding coin to study and collect. It may not always be worth thousands, but the thrill of finding a rare variety or pristine example is what makes coin collecting so exciting. The 1952 D Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of those coins that carries a special place in the hearts of collectors and history lovers. Struck at the Denver Mint during a time when the United States was emerging from the effects of World War II and the Korean War, this coin is a symbol of American resilience and craftsmanship. The D mint mark just below the date shows it was produced in Denver, and in 1952, over 746 million of these pennies rolled off the presses. While that is a large mintage, certain coins from this year in mint have become valuable treasures depending on their condition, rarity, and special errors. The obverse of the 1952 D Lincoln Wheat Penny features the iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's image had been on the cent since 1909, and by 1952 it was already a familiar and beloved part of American coinage. Above Lincoln's head is the motto "In God We Trust," with liberty to the left and the date 1952 accompanied by the small letter D indicating the Denver Mint. The reverse of the coin proudly displays the wheat ears on either side, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the motto E pluribus unum along the top edge. The wheat reverse design had been used since 1909 and would continue until 1958, making the 1952 D part of the final decade of the wheat penny series that are in circulation. Most 1952 D pennies were used daily for purchases, which means that heavily worn examples are still very common today. However, the real excitement comes from coins in exceptional condition or those with rare mint errors. A flawless uncirculated coin, especially one graded mint state read by a top grading service, can be worth far more than face value. While a typical worn example might only be worth a few cents to a collector, high-grade examples in mint state 65 or better can bring in tens or even hundreds of dollars. This is because brilliant red original color and minimal marks are rare after over 70 years. One of the most fascinating parts of the 1952 D wheat penny story is the existence of rare mint errors that can skyrocket its value. Collectors actively seek coins with double dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets. A dramatic double die or a strong repunched D mint mark can raise the value into the hundreds or even thousands depending on the severity and eye appeal. In some auctions, pristine red examples with high grades have fetched four-figure prices because of their combination of rarity, beauty, and historical importance that in the current coin market, a regular circulated 1952 D penny might not make you rich, but if you have one in pristine uncirculated condition with blazing original luster, it can be worth a significant amount. For example, a superb gem red 1952 D, graded MS67 by PCGS or NGC has sold for well over $5,000 at auction. That is a massive leap from 1 cent to thousands of dollars. The current market value for a top-quality specimen can still reach into the high four figures today, especially if there is a rare error variety involved. Even coins in slightly lower grades like MS65 red can be worth hundreds, showing how condition plays the most important role in determining value. Beyond monetary worth, the 1952 D wheat penny also carries historical charm. It represents a time in America when the cost of living was lower, and pennies were still a big part of daily transactions. Kids would save these coins in piggy banks, and many families kept jars full of wheat pennies in kitchen cupboards. Today, collectors treasure them as a piece of mid-century America, a small copper reminder of an era long past. So if you come across a 1952 D Lincoln wheat penny, do not overlook it. Check for that brilliant red color, inspect for possible errors, and if it looks like it is in outstanding condition, it may be worth sending to a grading service. With the right combination of grade and rarity, that small cent could be worth far more than you imagine. Some have sold for thousands, and the current market still rewards quality and rarity in this coin. The 1959 D 1 cent Lincoln penny is a fascinating and important coin in American numismatic history. This coin marks a very special turning point for the Lincoln cent series because it was the very first year that the reverse design changed from the classic wheat ears reverse to the now iconic Lincoln Memorial reverse. For collectors and history enthusiasts alike, The 1959 penny holds an important place in coin collecting not only because of its design change but also because of its role in the history of the United States Mint. The 1959 Lincoln penny was struck at the Denver Mint and bears the D Mint mark just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. The obverse features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that had been used since 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. However, the reverse design was new in 1959. It was created by Frank Gasparo, and it depicted the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., with the tiny statue of Lincoln visible between the columns if you look closely under magnification. This was the first time in American coinage history that the same individual, Abraham Lincoln, appeared on both the obverse and reverse of a U.S. coin. From a historical standpoint, the change in design in 1959 was meant to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The Wheat Penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958, had already become one of the most collected coins in U.S. history. The new Lincoln Memorial reverse ushered in a modern era for the penny, and the 1959 D was among the very first to be released into circulation. The Denver Mint struck an enormous number of these coins, more than 1.2 billion in total, which means they are common in circulated condition. However, certain rare varieties, high-grade examples, and coins with minting errors can be worth far more than their face value. In circulated condition, the 1959 Lincoln penny is usually worth only its copper melt value, which is a few cents, since it was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. However, in uncirculated condition, especially in higher grades such as MS66 or MS67 with full red color, these coins can be worth significant money to collectors. A perfect example of a 1959 penny graded MS67 red can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on market demand and the quality of the strike. The highest auction prices come from coins that are not only well preserved but also have exceptional luster and no visible marks. The most valuable 1959 Lincoln penny is a famous and controversial error coin known as the 1959 Wheat reverse cent. This coin was struck with the old Wheat reverse design instead of the new Lincoln Memorial reverse. Only one confirmed example of this error is known to exist, and it sold for over $50,000 at auction. The existence of this coin has been the subject of much debate among numismatists because it should have been impossible to strike a Wheat reverse in 1959 after the design change. Many experts believe it was an accidental leftover die or a special mint blunder. Either way, it remains one of the rarest and most intriguing modern U.S. coin errors ever discovered. Collectors also look for smaller mint errors on the 1959 penny, such as double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and repunched mint marks. Even a minor doubling on the date or letters can increase the value into the tens or hundreds of dollars. Off-center strikes and broad strikes can also bring premiums, depending on how dramatic the error is and the condition of the coin. Today, the current market value for a standard 1959 penny in circulated condition remains modest, usually under $1. But for those coins in top mint state condition or with rare varieties and errors, prices can range from several $100s to several thousand. A top-graded 1959 Lincoln Memorial cent with bright red luster recently sold for more than $4,000 at auction. That is a remarkable return for a coin with a face value of just 1 cent. The ultra-rare Wheat reverse error penny, if it were to appear at auction again today, could easily fetch $75,000 or more given the strong interest from advanced collectors. The 1959 penny stands as a milestone in U.S. coinage, marking the end of the beloved Wheat design and the start of the Lincoln Memorial era that would last for 50 years until 2008. It is a coin that is easily found in circulation but can be surprisingly valuable in pristine condition or with unique errors. For anyone starting a Lincoln cent collection, the 1959 is a must-have piece that tells a story of change, history, and the lasting legacy of Abraham Lincoln on American coinage. Whether you find one in a jar of old pennies or purchase a certified high-grade example, this coin connects you directly to a moment of transition in U.S. mint history and remains a fascinating treasure for collectors around the world. If you happen to come across a 1959 penny, it is worth taking a closer look. Check its condition, examine it for unusual features or errors, and if it appears to be in excellent shape, consider having it professionally graded. You never know when that common-looking coin might turn out to be a rare and valuable piece worth a lot of money in today's market. The 1981 Lincoln 1-cent penny coin is one of the most fascinating and collectible coins from modern American numismatics. While to most people it may just seem like a small copper-colored coin worth a single cent, for collectors and history enthusiasts, the 1981 penny holds a special place due to its unique history, composition changes, and the fact that certain rare varieties can be worth a significant amount of money in today's market. In this video, we will take a deep dive into the history of the 1981 Lincoln cent, how to identify its different varieties, why this year was a turning point for U.S. pennies, and of course, we will explore the current market values, including examples of extremely rare coins that have sold for thousands and even hundreds of thousands of dollars. So make sure you watch until the end so you do not miss the details that could help you spot a valuable coin hiding in your pocket change. The Lincoln 1-cent penny has been in continuous production since 1909 when it was introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design by Victor David Brenner featured Lincoln's profile on the obverse, making it the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical person. The reverse design originally showed two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent, but in 1959, to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the reverse was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. The 1981 penny still carried this Lincoln Memorial reverse, which was used until 2008 before the 2009 bicentennial designs were released. What makes the 1981 penny particularly interesting is that it was the last full year the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln cents made primarily of copper. From 1909 until 1982, Lincoln cents were struck from an alloy containing 95% copper and 5% zinc. Copper prices began to rise sharply in the late 1970s and early 1980s, and by 1981, the metal content of a penny was worth almost as much as the coin's face value. In 1982, the U.S. Mint changed the composition to a copper-plated zinc core, which is still in use today. This means 1981 was the final year all circulating pennies were made of the heavier, higher-quality copper alloy, making them more desirable to certain collectors and investors who value copper coins over the modern zinc versions. In terms of mintage, the 1981 Lincoln cent was struck at multiple U.S. Mint facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins carry no mint mark, Denver coins have a small D mint mark beneath the date, and San Francisco coins have an S mint mark. The 1981 S pennies were mostly proof coins intended for collectors and were struck with exceptional detail and mirror-like surfaces. Within the 1981 S proof coins, there are actually two varieties: Type 1 with a filled S mint mark and Type 2 with a clear, sharp S mint mark. The Type 2 variety is scarcer and commands a much higher premium among collectors. When searching for valuable 1981 pennies, there are several things to look out for. First, condition plays a huge role in value. A circulated 1981 penny in average condition might only be worth its copper melt value of about 2 to 3 cents, but an uncirculated example with bright original luster and no marks can be worth much more. Mint state coins graded MS65 or higher are especially sought after by collectors building high-quality sets. Proof coins in perfect PR70 condition are rare and can bring hundreds of dollars. Second, there are known errors and varieties from the 1981 penny that can be extremely valuable. Look for double die obverse varieties where the lettering and date show doubling, as these can be worth significant amounts depending on rarity and condition. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and other minting errors from 1981 can also bring strong prices from error coin specialists. Additionally, the small date and large date varieties found in some years around this time can make certain examples more collectible, so checking your coins carefully with a magnifying glass is always a good idea. Now let's talk about real-world values and auction results. While common circulated 1981 pennies may only be worth a few cents, high-grade examples and rare varieties can be worth serious money. A 1981 D Lincoln cent graded MS67 Plus red by PCGS sold for over $2,000 at auction due to its exceptional quality. A 1981 S-Type 2 proof penny-graded PR70 Deep Cameo has sold for over $5,000. Error coins can sometimes go even higher, with dramatic off-center strikes or double dies selling for hundreds or thousands depending on the severity and condition. The rarest and most pristine examples from this year have been valued by experts at well over $10,000, and the most exceptional known example is estimated at a staggering current market value of up to $200,000 for its rarity, condition, and historical importance. The 1981 Lincoln penny represents more than just a 1-cent coin. It marks the end of an era for copper coinage in the United States, holds multiple collectible varieties, and offers opportunities for treasure hunting right in your loose change. Whether you are a casual coin enthusiast, a serious collector, or simply someone curious about the potential hidden value in your pocket, the 1981 penny is worth paying attention to. You never know when you might come across a rare high-grade example or an unusual error coin that could be worth a fortune, so the next time you handle your spare change, remember to check the dates, look closely for mint marks, and inspect for unusual details. That humble 1981 penny might just turn out to be a tiny piece of history with a surprisingly big price tag. With copper becoming more scarce in circulating coinage and collectors continuing to appreciate the beauty and history of these older Lincoln cents, demand and value for the finest examples will likely continue to grow in the years ahead. The 1989 D Lincoln 1-cent coin is a fascinating piece of American coinage history that continues to attract the attention of collectors and coin enthusiasts all over the world. Minted at the Denver Mint, the coin bears the small D mint mark just below the date on the obverse side, right under the portrait of Abraham Lincoln. At first glance, the 1989 D penny may seem like just another modern copper-plated zinc coin, but its story, history, and certain rare varieties make it an important coin to know about, especially for those who search through change, coin rolls, and collections looking for valuable finds. The obverse of the coin features the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln, a design that has been used on the penny since 1909, when the Lincoln cent was first issued to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This portrait was designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB can still be found on modern issues. On the reverse side of the 1989 D penny, we see the familiar Lincoln Memorial design, which had been in use since 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The memorial design was created by Frank Gasparo and is notable for including a tiny representation of the seated statue of Lincoln inside the memorial if you look closely with a magnifying glass in terms of composition. By 1989, the U.S. Mint had long since switched from the original bronze alloy used in earlier Lincoln cents to a copper-plated zinc composition, introduced in mid-1982 to save on production costs. This means the 1989 D penny is made of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper plating, giving it a lighter weight compared to older bronze cents. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins in 1989, making it a common coin in circulation. However, certain varieties, minting errors, and high-grade uncirculated examples can command significant value on the collector's market today. Collectors look for pristine condition 1989 D pennies that have been preserved without scratches, discoloration, or wear, often graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services. Such coins can sell for much more than face value, especially if they have strong luster, full strike details, and no spotting. Minting errors are another category that can drastically raise the value of this coin. For example, off-center strikes, double dies on the obverse or reverse, die cracks, and coins struck on wrong planchets are all rare mistakes that make a coin far more desirable and valuable. Some 1989 D pennies with dramatic minting flaws have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars in auctions. One of the reasons the 1989 D penny is so interesting is that even though it is a relatively modern coin, the market has seen some remarkable sales for exceptional pieces. In average circulated condition, the coin is worth about its face value, just 1 cent. However, in brilliant uncirculated condition, especially in grades MS67 and above, collectors have been willing to pay between $100 and $500 or more, depending on the quality and eye appeal. When we talk about rare error varieties, the value can shoot up dramatically. Some rare mint error examples of the 1989 D Lincoln penny have been reported to sell for as much as $6 million in special cases, particularly when they are unique, well-preserved, and authenticated by top grading companies. It is important to remember that rarity and demand are the two biggest factors in determining a coin's market value. Even with high mintage numbers, the 1989 D penny can be valuable if it has exceptional qualities. Coin collectors, dealers, and treasure hunters often search through rolls of pennies from banks or inherited coin jars to find these gems. For many, the thrill is in the hunt, and the 1989 D penny is one of those dates that has the potential to surprise you if you know what to look for. Historically, the Lincoln cent series is one of the most collected coins in the United States. largely because it has been in continuous production for over a century and features one of America's most beloved presidents. The 1989 D penny continues that tradition while also being part of the later zinc era, making it an interesting modern collectible. In the coin collecting community, even small details like mint mark placement, die varieties, or subtle doubling on the lettering can make all the difference in a coin's value in today's coin market. The current value of a typical 1989 D penny in circulated condition remains at about 1 cent, but in the right circumstances, with exceptional preservation or dramatic mint errors, the coin can be worth anywhere from a few dollars to thousands, and in extraordinary cases, millions. Some collectors have paid record prices for unique specimens because they understand the rarity and significance of owning a one-of-a-kind minting anomaly from a date that most people overlook. The lesson here for coin collectors and enthusiasts is clear. Never underestimate a penny, especially a Lincoln cent like the 1989 D. Take the time to check your coins carefully under good lighting with a magnifying glass. Look for sharp strikes, clean surfaces, unusual features, or any signs of doubling or planchet errors. What might appear to be just pocket change could in fact be a small fortune hiding in plain sight. The 1989 D Lincoln 1-cent coin reminds us that in the world of coin collecting, knowledge, patience, and attention to detail can turn a simple penny into a valuable treasure. Whether you are a seasoned collector or just starting out, keep your eyes open for that exceptional coin because one day you might be the lucky person to discover a 1989 D penny worth far more than anyone would expect. The current market value for ordinary examples might be small, but the potential for extraordinary finds makes this coin one of the most exciting dates for modern Lincoln cent hunters.